So, you remember the early days of gaming, right? I mean, you probably don't. You're probably younger than me, and you only know of the current state of gaming that features Sonic and Mario, but precious little else. So, you won't remember those days where every game company wanted a mascot character that would sell games. Konami wanted one, Namco wanted one, Sega had Sonic, Nintendo had Mario. Basically, every single gaming company wanted something. The PS1 ended up with Crash Bandicoot in the beginning. However, without even the smallest shred of evidence, I shall present to you the case in point as to why mascot characters are really not worth their salt. Bubsy. Gah! That name is synonymous with failure, derision, displeasure, and genuine hatred. As much as you want to say the poor character's being given a bad rep, there really is no denying quite a lot of things about this character, but they all basically point to what everyone is thinking when you utter his name. He sucks. He absolutely, plainly, completely, insurmountably sucks beyond every reasonable doubt. Everyone in the gaming field knows it, and that is why everyone knows who Bubsy is. He's not famous, he's infamous. He's largely known for his derisible mess of a 3D platformer, Bubsy 3D, a game so bad that most people still regard it as one of the worst games ever made. And suffice to say that Bubsy's first iteration was not a whole lot better, although for the most part, it does at least work. For the most part. And lo, I return to this game after 17 years of not even touching it, only to remind myself of the utter misery I put myself through at the time. But here's the thing, it never seemed that bad as a kid. Why? Hype. Hype's a funny thing, you know. When Bubsy first appeared in the magazines and all that, there was a massive amount of hype for the game. We're not talking Rise of the Robots level of hype, but it's not exactly far off. Magazines were going crazy over this guy. They said he'd be a Sonic killer and would be better than Sonic 2 and all that bobbins. It was genuinely hilarious in hindsight to think that a game as basic as Bubsy would get that much hype. They emphasised his speed and they talked about his tood and they made out as if he was really going to be the biggest thing ever. Oh dear, but everyone feels a bit silly now. Lo and behold, everyone, for there is a plot here. It's pretty much a crappy example of how not to story. An alien race known as the Woolies want to steal Earth's yarn balls. I am not fucking kidding you. Seeing as Bubsy has a massive stash of them, because bobcats just love yarn, true facts, he's at risk of losing them. So he basically goes off to get them back before the aliens steal them all. It's really as flimsy as that. Holy shit. I mean, seriously, look, I know that Sonic doesn't have much of a story past Sonic wanting to find the Chaos Emeralds to stop Dr. Robotnik and save his friends and all that, but really? Bubsy's plot doesn't even have a purpose. It's basically, here is why you collect things and beat enemies. Enemies you don't even need to kill. Enemies that only need so much as graze past you and you die. This is exactly what was wrong with Pandemonium. There wasn't a reason to do any of it. Why kill enemies that aren't actually doing anything? So they want wool, big deal. Do we know what it's for? Fucked if we know. We know what Dr. Robotnik wanted the Chaos Emeralds for. There aren't any major reasons for a group of aliens to want wool. It's not life-threatening. And that's the problem with this game. The setup really deflates everything out of it. There isn't an actual reason to care. And holy shit, Bubsy is a character you certainly do not help matters. See, Bubsy's got this attitude going on where he's made out to be a massive wisecracking arse. He has this smug expression on his face constantly when standing still, and to be honest, given that he dies from being blown on, he's hardly worth all that, and he has no reason to feel quite so fucking full of himself. At the start of each level he quits something hilarious as a way of easing you in gently into the game. As such, upon pressing start, we are greeted by a voice clip of the eponymous hero asking, "What could possibly go wrong?" Awful Bubsy impression. Well, I don't know, Bubsy. What could possibly go wrong? Clue, nearly everything. Let's get all the nice things out of the way first, okay? The graphics are reasonable. They move nicely, there's plenty of good sprite animation, and at the start it's fun to watch the death animations, particularly the more unusual ones. The last one I ever found was when I jumped up into an enemy from below and Bubsy split in half. There are also water deaths, because cats hate water, ha 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 ha, that is funny. And plenty of fall to your doom deaths too. But get used to them because death is pretty much a given in this game. Expect to see Bubsy die regularly. And why am I expecting to see him die regularly? Is it a hard game? Not per se. It shouldn't be hard. It's not exactly full of enemies that are likely to blow your head off and whatnot. There are plenty of stationary enemies who literally do nothing but blow raspberries at you. A lot jump about, a few throw eggs, a few short walk very short distances, and a few roll cheese wheels at you. Honestly, it's about as harmless as it possibly gets. But be prepared to be pelted with slow moving eggs, only for Bubsy to shatter into 100 pieces, because gaming logic! Major problem number 1, the controls. Good fucking god. These controls are woolly as absolutely anything ever. They're an absolute disgrace. They're responsive, don't get me wrong. Bubsy moves and jumps when you ask him to. It's just that they're so bad. They're honestly so bad because they just float about randomly. If you jump, you might not be able to jump forward in the way you want. Everything feels floaty. The physics of his jumping feels so abominably wrong. I can't quite put it into words. They're so bad they make the platforming 10 times harder than it ought to be. Imagine a small gap over water that is immensely makeable. We're talking a leap across stepping stones level of jumping, an inch on screen at most. You could fail that easily. In this game, every jump feels like a death trap. You might be quite blasé about it and just jump for your life thinking, it'll be absolutely fine. It won't matter much. No. In Bubsy, if you do not jump in a specific way that no one, not even the developers, know, then you will die. And if you do make the jump, the way the ground is formed means you might slide straight back off it without even knowing. Major problem number 2, level design. Let's imagine that asking your little brother or sister to design you a roller coaster on a clean sheet of A4. Imagine that your little brother or sister has literally no fine motor control at all because they're, let's say, 2 years old at the most. They don't know what colouring in between the lines is. They just like to make swirly lines on paper. Yeah, that's what happened to the level design here. Look, here's an example. I managed to get through an entire level purely by gliding across the top of it and then running the rest of the way to the end. There's literally no point to having anything in a level if you can essentially fly right over the top of it without collecting anything, getting any punishment for not collecting anything. There's no point for anything to litter any of the levels. Supposedly, the game was built on the idea of speed, but going too fast means you could bash into enemies and die. Going too fast means you could basically fall off massive cliffs and die. Going too fast means that you have no idea where you're going, and even if you're going the right way, and then you die. The fact this game is fast is detrimental to it. There's no reason for Bubsy to be fast when the result of being fast is pretty much permanent insta-death. In later levels the game relies heavily on platforming, so going fast is counterintuitive and utterly redundant. By the last stage you're basically working your way through corridors and a spaceship, so how do you go fast there? You don't. You don't even do it in the first place in case you die. What's the fucking point? Major problem number 3. Bubsy. Just no. Bubsy, you're not cool, you're not funny, you're not wisecracking comedic wit in any way. You are not the least bit likeable. You're a joke. In fact, you are funny. I retract that statement. You are funny, you're a joke, and jokes are funny. There. Look, there's a reason I said the death animations are funny. Because watching Bubsy have pain inflicted by so many small things like eggs and a leaf and even a spider is just mind-bogglingly ridiculous. Which is why it's funny. Because it's laughable. You couldn't find a weedier hero for a game. Someone who bumps into a roller coaster car, a stationary roller coaster car, and dies. What even is this character? And there are just more tiny little irritations that crop up throughout the game. The music is annoying as you'd like. It doesn't give off any atmosphere. Even the attempted jolly sounds of the funfair levels don't really work. They sound generic as anything. The Wild West theme has this bizarre little sound effect thing going on in the background, like someone forgot to make the music stereo or something. I suppose it's trying to give off that dust on vinyl record feel or something, but it's just a bit shit really. And the enemies, every time there's an enemy on screen, there's this bizarre little honking noise that pipes up and happens every single time an enemy notices him, which is often, and it's just weird. Oh god, this game is annoying. Why do we even have this game? And as such, Bubsy, this here is another reason as to why people look upon you with such scorn and animosity. There is really no reason for your existence. You don't give anyone any pleasure at all. The fact that you exist is how we got Bubsy 3D in the first place. The hype train really did roll out in this game like it was something special. It hid from us, the general public, but it ended up genuinely being a massive mess. But oh no, Bubsy, what could possibly go wrong? And they gave him a TV show. Well, a TV episode. No one picked it up. There is justice after all.